What's good, everybody? The Ambassador here from Theme Park ERT, back for our second round 2 of the Enthusiast Roundtable. But I think I want this time to call it Enthusiasts Rallying Together, because we're all kind of stuck in this moment of the parks being closed, and not just the parks, like everything's closed and we're stuck in our houses. So this was just an idea that we had to just bring all these enthusiasts together and just talk about the industry. And of course, we're going to talk about the COVID-19 coronavirus at the start. But first, I want to introduce everybody that's here. We've got actually, we got John, Days Can Blaze right over here. Hello.
Yo. Hello.
There he goes. And then we've got Dylan from Theme Park Obsession.
Hey, how's it going?
He's bringing that Disney Universal knowledge.
Oh, yeah.
And then these guys are live in the studio. And just off the top, here's the thing. We're borrowing a studio from a good friend of mine, Cardin, who runs Problem Solver Politics. And in the studio, don't worry, we're sitting the correct distance apart. There's only 3 of us here. And so we're saying we have tons of hand sanitizer. And I know we like to make light, but no, seriously, we took that into consideration. All right, also we have joining us via Skype from the East Coast. We got 2 of the big heavy hitters. We got representing New Jersey, Toro Ryan. What's up, buddy? Thanks for joining us.
What's no problem. Glad to be here.
Absolutely. What's indeed. And we've also got Taylor, a powerhouse from the East Coast, also fresh back from an impromptu Texas detour. Taylor from Coastal Studios. What's up, buddy?
Yeah, dude, I'm doing great. I have a lot to share with you guys because the world hit the fan while I was in Texas, and it was crazy. So, yeah,
yes,
but doing okay. We're back.
Oh, good. Glad that you could join us via Skype. And just let's get things started off. How are things looking for everybody? Is everybody safe? Everybody healthy? What about you, Dylan?
I'm safe and healthy. We live like right down the street.
Yeah.
So
he's my neighbor.
Yeah, we're all neighbors here. But we're doing good. It's just being cooped up in the house kind of sucks.
Right. And John, how you doing?
Same. I live in LA, so it's a little more dense as far as people go. So I'm trying to stay in a little more, and only go places I need to at this point.
And again, here's a studio cam. You can see we're all sitting far apart from each other. We're all good.
Yeah.
Okay, and then we've got Taylor. And how are you guys doing? Are you guys all right?
I'm doing okay. I feel bad for people that have allergies right now. This is a really awkward time to start sneezing. Everyone's going to start getting suspicious. Luckily, I'm good.
I'm glad that we've got people from all sorts of different parts of the country, because let's talk about kind of the construction progress. I know that with this whole shutdown and lockdowns of things, I know that New Jersey just had a lockdown as well. And we want to let's talk about New Jersey Devil, Ryan. Do you think that the construction is going to halt, or do you think they're still going to be on schedule? What do you think?
So far, it hasn't. They've still been building it. Like, you can see it from Prosperstown Lake, which is right down the street.
Yeah.
And they've been throwing up supports. So, over the past few weeks, they've put up a lot of supports. I heard the track work might get held up. Apparently, the RMC guys are supposed to come in for that. Like, they're supposed to finish up Iron Gawazi and then go to New Jersey. But I think they got shipped out of Tampa. I think they just went back home to Idaho.
Oh,
so I'm not sure how that's going to affect that. I don't know if they can just get the contractor they have now to put the track up, but I hope it doesn't get affected.
Well, yeah, I
can chime in briefly.
Yeah, go ahead.
I know that Jersey Devil is supposedly still on track. I talk with a lot of the RMC people pretty frequently, and so from what I have heard, they're still on track. We'll see though. How fast things change here, so that could definitely, that was last I heard.
Well, that's good. That's good. We want to make sure that that they complete that circuit, and it's just I just don't know, are the construction workers exempt during this time? I know that it's supposed to be only non-essentials, but it's just kind of interesting how it's working around the country. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I feel like
actually, where I work, they're still doing a lot of their construction projects. It's odd. I don't know what qualifies as it's exempt or not. So it seems like a lot of construction, even just outside of roller coasters, is still going on.
Well, that's good news. But and also, let's just move to Virginia a little bit. How's Pantheon looking, Taylor?
So last I heard, they were doing pull-through tests on the coaster, but they had not done the first official test run. And because we haven't heard anything recently, I'm assuming that no news means there's literally nothing going on, aka probably all the crews have been sent home. Right. So to my knowledge, they still have not done an official test run, which is a shame because right when this whole thing happened, they were very close. I mean, it could have been any day from
Right.
after having that they could have started testing it, because they were, they were cruising on that project. They were very close to getting that thing, just a few weeks away from opening.
Right.
At this point, who knows?
That's like with so many projects. Like they were all so close, and then all of a sudden this happened, and then just a complete halt. I mean, I think some construction workers are still on site. I mean, I know at Disney there's some people still there, but I just don't know how many people are on the construction site actively working on the projects, and that's just around the country versus, like what you said, like are they even allowed to have a certain amount of people? Like, I don't know.
Yeah. I was going to say, like with Disney, like what's the latest with like the Disney parks as far as like not even construction, but like what about cleaning crew and back of house staff and stuff like that? Like, what's the story there?
I mean, from what I've been hearing, they've been cleaning the parks and making sure that those are, in top shop shape. But, as far as major work, I don't think anything is really happening. I know they're working on a paving project next to Sleeping Beauty Castle and some other little projects. They're restaining the boardwalk on Pixar Pier, but I don't think a lot of things are happening, which is, with Avengers Campus, I think that project is completely halted for now.
And John, what do you think? What do you know about Magic Mountain? Like with this 2021 project that was supposed to be happening, is it stalled?
I honestly have no idea, but I hope it's not something like what happened last year.
What happened last year? Oh, you mean the delay West Coast Racers?
Exactly.
West Coast Racers was delayed a year. What do you think?
Oh, was it?
What are you talking about? It opened in 2019.
That's an interesting debate there.
Well, and Six Flags, Six Flags took a very big hit. I don't know if you guys have been paying attention to the stock market, but Six Flags took a huge hit.
Dive coaster.
Yeah, they took a dive
coaster. They
coaster.
finally got a dive coaster.
Yeah, and same with SeaWorld. They not only built a dive coaster in San Diego, they took a dive as well in the stock market. So it's going to be interesting to see as far as projects are concerned, if they're even going to go through with the projects that are after what's being built right now. Obviously, I think all the projects that are in the parks, not just with SeaWorld and Six Flags, but just all over the country, I think the ones that are near completion will be completed on schedule, but it's the future projects that might be heavily pushed back just because of the economic impact.
Right. Yeah. I totally agree with that. Like it's just such an interesting time. Do you know what I mean? Like I understand not having guests in the park, and so it would be a great time to catch up and all that different stuff. But now with all these new orders and stuff like that, so Ryan, can you explain again? I know New Jersey just had the most recent thing, and you work in government or city or something like that, right?
Yeah, I work in state government.
Yeah. So what do you?
I still have to go into my office a few times a week technically. So I'm not technically on a full work at home yet. Mm-hmm. I think they just have non-essential businesses closed. So, typical stores or anything. But if it's like state work or something, it's up in the air still.
Yeah, man, it's crazy. And then and it's kind of interesting. We talk about how the parks all closed and how they all closed. Disney led the way. And then it kind of trickled down, and it affected so many different people. And specifically, it affected you, Taylor. can you explain about what happened? You want to explain that story?
Yeah. Well, the first and foremost, everything starts with Disney. So anytime Disney does something, it always makes its way down to the regional parks. So specifically, what happened to me this past week, I was kind of in an interesting situation where I was supposed to go to Europe. And the night before I was supposed to fly out to Paris, France, I was all packed up and everything. There was an announcement made from the Oval Office where they suspended flights to and from Europe.
Yeah.
And that was a big deal because we'd only really seen flights suspended to and from China. And so the fact that this happened to Europe literally the day before. Well, and here was the thing was they said, it's going to go into effect on Friday, and we were supposed to leave on Thursday, meaning we could have still left. We would have had a really tough time getting back in, though. And so we made the call. That's it. Our trip is done. And so I was talking with Chad and Paul from Ohio Valley Coasters, if you guys know them. They were supposed to do the trip with me.
Right.
So we were on a phone call for probably 2 hours trying to decide what to do. And everyone's texting us like, oh my gosh, did you just see what happened? So sorry about your trip or whatever. And we're like, it's fine. Let's try and make the best of the situation.
Mm-hmm.
And we had all wanted to go to Texas this year because of Texas Stingray specifically.
Right.
And Chad and Paul haven't been to those parks. I haven't been since 2016. So we said, it's still my spring break. I want to go somewhere. I'm all packed up. So let's see what we can do here. And so we found a flight for early the next morning to San Antonio for a pretty good deal.
Right.
And keep in mind, this is before they told us to self-quarantine or anything.
Sure.
Before you get mad, we were still washing our hands. Six Flags was still open. They had hand sanitizer everywhere. But we weren't doing anything that people were specifically advising us not to do. The airlines were still taking a hit, but it wasn't quite what it is now. So we flew to San Antonio, Texas, went to Six Flags Fiesta, Texas for 2 days. And on this morning of the second day there, we get I guess it was the night of the first day when Disney and Universal announced they're closing. So then the next morning when we're at Fiesta, Texas, they say all the parks are going to be closing tomorrow, meaning the day we were at Fiesta, Texas was the last day that they'd be open. So we hadn't done SeaWorld yet, but we were kind of nervous that SeaWorld was not going to be open the next day, which would have really screwed things up. And so we made the spontaneous decision to leave Fiesta, Texas to go to SeaWorld. And while we're driving there, because it's like 20 minutes away, while we're driving there, SeaWorld makes the announcements, we're closing on Sunday. So actually we were good. So what we ended up doing, we went to SeaWorld, we rode Texas Stingray, got a little backstage tour. We were treated beautifully there. It was fantastic. We went back to Fiesta, Texas for the last rides on, everything, because they are still closed. And then we did SeaWorld the full next day. And then we went over to ZDT's, Kima Boardwalk, as well as
Galveston?
Iron Shark, Galveston, yeah. And it was funny. We have Ryan here from Toro Ryan. We saw Mark there. It was like so funny. Saw Mark while we were in Texas. It was so random. It was like
Coaster
we
Idiot
had
in the
no
wild.
idea that. Yeah.
Yeah, he was there too. He was lurking in Texas.
It was pretty funny. It was the randomest meetup. It was like, what the heck? So, anyways, when Six Flags announced that that was gonna be the last day, of everything, we figured, well, okay, so we're not doing over Texas after all. But I still had a flight out of Dallas, so that was kind of why we said, okay, we're still gonna continue with the rest of the trip, as we had to progress through. But when I left for Texas, that was from Utah, where I go to school. And I was supposed to go back, but then all the classes got moved to online. The world started shutting down, and by the time I was supposed to fly out, they said, go home and self-quarantine yourself. So I made the decision to go home to Virginia, and I haven't left my house really since then. And the rest of the semester is pretty much over for me. It's just some online stuff, and I don't think I'm going back to Utah till the fall, which is crazy because most of my stuff is still there. I didn't realize when I was leaving for Texas that I'd be leaving for a long time. So it was a crazy week.
Well, it's crazy that you flew back to Virginia because Salt Lake City had an earthquake and they shut the airport down.
They did.
Because the airplane got damaged. Yeah.
There's been so much
the Salt Lake airport when it happened, and their flights were delayed till the end of the night, pretty much, because everything got shut down. So it has been an insane week here in America.
That's
to
say the least.
Yeah, still safe and everything,
Insane
and still getting comments from the video saying, "I can't believe you're out and about. Like, how dare you?
Hater
you're
videos?
a terrible person. You're
Like, really?
a selfish a-hole for being traveling
really?
when you should be home." But people didn't realize, like, this was a week ago.
They don't know when
the
it was
CDC
shot.
hadn't said anything yet, but whatever, it's fine.
What was that, John?
No, I was just saying they don't know when you shot the video, so.
Exactly. Well, people don't realize that, like, if I'm uploading a video today, I did not film it today. I filmed it.
Yeah, it's very rare that like a lot of people upload the same. I mean, like I do that for some things, like I'll upload the same day. But yeah, I mean, some of the stuff that you see on YouTube has been already filmed like a couple days in advance.
Yeah.
Right. Like, I love it. Like in the comments, they're like, "Oh my gosh, you were here today? I was there today too." It's like,
yeah, it's like no.
Yeah. And what about you, Ryan? Like, what was the last? Let's tell some horror stories here. What was the last thing or ride you were able to ride before you had to lock down?
I haven't been on a coaster since Nickelodeon Universe. So I haven't been on one actually in 2020 yet.
Oh my gosh, what's going on?
Yeah, I was banking on March. I was banking on this month. I was actually like the last weekend before like the whole shutdown and everything. I was planning to go to Busch Gardens, Williamsburg,
Ah.
and then like a few hours before, like I was like at work playing with my friends, like the Coaster Idiots, like, hey, we're gonna leave now. Like I'll like come to my house, we'll leave and stuff. And then we got the message from Busch Gardens saying they were closing. So we were like, ah. Then I started looking online, and my friend Drew, actually from the Coaster Idiots, he found like cheap flights to Orlando.
Uh-huh.
And then I was like, oh, SeaWorld and Busch Gardens are still open, like in Florida. I can go there. And I was ready to buy my ticket. And then I figured it'll probably be pretty bad. And then my mom overheard me, and she got really mad at me. I still live at home with my parents, so they got really mad at me. And I was like, all right, I'm not going to scare with that. I'll just stay home. So I haven't been on a coaster in 2020.
Dang.
Actually, in my last in like the Dollywood video I filmed last year, I didn't upload that until like a few weeks ago. I was like so late, but I put in that because I filmed that in 2019,
right?
And I said in the video as a joke, like, oh, because I knew I wasn't gonna upload it probably until 2020, so I was telling everyone like, oh, write down in the comments below like how was 2020. And then it ended up being a disaster. Every comment was so sad. I felt so bad. I was like, who could have predicted this? Like, no one would have thought.
Everyone's like, go back to 2019.
Yeah.
This year sucks.
It's
go back to when coasters were open.
It's only March.
So yeah, it's been crazy.
Yeah, it's already been a long year.
Yeah, no, it's crazy.
Only March.
And you're also planning to get married, right, Ryan? So like, how's that affected that? Do you want to cut this out, or
that's the
want to talk about it,
plan?
or no?
Oh, that's fine. That's fine. The wedding was supposed to be in August. So as of now, it's all fine. But it's just scary because a lot of the stuff now is being pushed back, and then I have a feeling in my head that it is going to get pushed back. I don't, not to sound like a hater of the country, but I don't trust our country enough that we're going to get through this fast enough. So I'm already mentally prepared that it's going to get pushed back. And after that, I just don't know when, because I know all the stuff now, like people who have like March weddings and stuff, they're probably getting pushed back. So they're filling in the dates after mine.
That's
so then
good
they're going
point.
to take over those dates with venues and stuff. It's this whole, it's not fun. Well, we'll see. I'm going to pray for the best. So fingers crossed.
That's right. And
See
you
what
know,
happens.
like when this does finally get over, and Ryan regains faith into our country, do you guys think that there's going to be like a slow comeback to the parks? Like people are going to be nervous, like dip their toe in, or do you think there's going to be a mad rush?
Yeah.
What do you think, Dylan?
I think there's going to be a very slow, rush to the parks for sure. The month that they reopen, let's just say they reopen up in June. Okay, that month of June is probably going to be the slowest summer month for all these parks ever. I just don't think that's too many people are going to rush out because one, you're going to have the fear of people just not wanting to be in crowded spaces, and two, there's a lot of people unfortunately losing their jobs right now, and I think going to a theme park, spending that kind of money is the last thing on their list. I think they want to get necessities and kind of get themselves back on their feet versus having to, let's say go to Disneyland, which is it's not cheap. It's pretty expensive.
Right.
Yeah, and on top of that, there'll probably be limited capacity. They'll probably lower the numbers of
that's a
people
good
they
point.
let in.
That's kind of what they're doing in China right now, because I know China and I believe in Japan they're starting to reopen some of the parks, and they're limiting how many people are going in. You have to have a face mask and stuff like that. So I wouldn't be surprised if they do that here in the United States. They do limited capacity, and and it sucks because for some of these parks in the country, this is like their prime time. Like the summer is the time that they all open up. And they make a majority of their money, but now with this happening, it begs the question: are they going to even open at all?
Yeah, so the only time they open, really.
Right.
Yeah, when those quarterly earning calls come out, everyone's going to be hurting. I mean, not even just theme parks, literally everyone.
Oh, yeah,
so
it's
I kind of agree. I think it'll be a slow draw back in. The one thing that I think could be the saving grace is those parks that do have new attractions, big, exciting new attractions that are supposed to open. I think if anything is going to get people back into those parks, it'll be those new rides. So, but again, we don't know what the construction delays will be for these things. So those rides like Iron Gwazi that was originally scheduled to open, this month, when's it going to open now? Who knows?
And do you think that, say, like Orion will be big enough of a pull for the GP?
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a huge coaster. I mean, I know the coaster community has their thoughts on it, but I mean, you got to look at it in the sense of everyone else in town. I think it's a pretty big draw for the park, so I think it'll do pretty well.
Yeah. And also, like,
what about the other one, the Candemonium one?
Oh, Candemonium. Yeah. Who's closer to that? Is that closer to?
I think Ryan would be closer than I would.
I'm
4
like
hours.
2.5. Oh, okay, I'm like 2.5 hours. So
That doesn't get talked about very much, Candemonium. What do you think?
Really.
What do you
it
say? What do you know?
doesn't. Yeah. I think it's going to be really good. I really like Mako, and I feel like it's going to be like Mako, but without the mid course. And the mid course on Mako is what it drives me crazy. But I think it. I might have high hopes with it, but I was saying before, I think it might be the best B&M hyper, at least in America. So my favorite's Behemoth in Canada, but
yeah,
it looks pretty good.
I think it'll be good for sure. I'm excited also to see how that new renovated front entrance is. I saw someone take some construction pictures like within a day or two ago. I didn't see any construction workers on site, but they looked pretty far along on everything. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that project.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with Taylor. I think the projects that are near completion now will draw in people to the parks. I think they're going to be really big draws. But it's just after that, what's going to come after that. I think that's when the parks might receive a hit, or they'll just, like I said earlier, they'll just hold off on doing new attractions for a while instead of the aggressive push because really, we've been seeing a very aggressive push in new attractions in the past, 10 years. And so I think after this, depending on how long the park's going to be closed for, I don't think we're going to hear new announcements, at least for a tiny bit.
Yeah. Well, think of all those parks that are supposed to receive new coasters in 2021.
Yeah.
Especially those that haven't been formally announced yet. So I'm not really counting like Tron or Guardians here, but I think of like SeaWorld San Diego is supposed to get a launch coaster. Busch Gardens Williamsburg is supposed to get a crazy new coaster.
Right.
And there's
Drachenspire.
Several other parks that have been rumored. So it's like, well, how are those projects going to be impacted because of a poor performing year?
Yeah, and on top of that is
2020.
Did they put aside a budget already, or was it or are they just?
Well, that's what I was going to ask. I was going to ask, do you think that they had a rainy day fund, like to because like say with Six Flags Magic Mountain, I know it's just one park out of a whole company, but like, what about earthquakes and hurricanes and things like that? Is there something like that? Do they have in their back pocket to like help out? And are they going to enact it? Do you know what I mean? I have no idea. What do you guys think?
Six Flags and how they're performing? I don't know. Maybe everyone else, though.
Yeah, I don't know.
Magic Mountain does well for them.
Typically, like, parks have, like, a 5-year plan or something, So they got different options to work with.
Yeah, like, especially when you look at, like, park like Disney, company like Disney, they're looking 10 years out, So
exactly.
I'm curious to see how that's going to play, to come into play. And with Avengers Campus, I don't know if that's going to be, delayed, or how much they've built out already. And then that second phase project that's supposed to go in there too, that new attraction that was kind of like a mystery.
The Avengers Dark Ride.
Yeah. So, like, what's the status on that now? Was that phase going to be pushed out? And I know there's a lot of rumors with Galaxy's Edge and expansion there. So I don't know. It's going to be hit or miss as far as like guessing what is going to happen at all these parks.
Right. And what about the Universal parks? We haven't. Oh, sorry. What did you want to say?
No, I was just going to say what sucks is for Magic Mountain, it's their 50th anniversary.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah.
Good point.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's now kind of like it's going to be synonymous with the COVID-19. I feel bad for anybody who's had like a birthday in March. Like,
Yeah.
Oh yeah, like Dylan.
Like, happy birthday! Here's coronavirus.
I saw.
The best birthday present ever.
Yeah, like that was totally what I wanted for my birthday.
I saw a post. It was like, due to coronavirus, my birthday's been what was it, like suspended or something?
Yeah, put on hold or
postponed.
something.
Postponed.
Yeah. Well, I was gonna say, what about like Universal? Like, I know that we had Secret Life of Pets, and then was there anything in the Florida parks that they were working on, or?
The huge new theme park out.
Oh,
in
that's
Florida.
right.
And also
and the Jurassic
Stuntacular is the only thing I can think of.
Yeah, the Bourne Spectacular is supposed to open up just I think a couple days ago, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
And then
I don't
think they were
know
doing
how Jurassic
rehearsals.
Yeah, I don't know how
My guess would be if Pantheon, all the crews have been sent home, Jurassic Coaster is probably the same.
Yeah, the rumored like Raptor coaster.
Yeah.
That I don't know what the status is on that. The Epic Universe, I have no clue what the status is on that.
I did hear that for Haggard, they've actually been cycling it still to try to get it to full like 12 train operation. Because I think it's just been running 11 lately. I think they've been working forever just to get it to that point, but I think they still cycle it just to work out all the bugs. So
I mean, I wouldn't doubt it. That's great that you bring that up because
hopefully they're still working on it.
I was thinking about Rise of the Resistance the other day as well, and I was thinking, I wonder if they're cycling it and trying to get it up to what they want it to be, because that ride is so complex, and the ride does have a lot of downtime, just like Hagrid. So I wonder if they're using this time to say, you know what, let's just work out as many kinks as we can.
Yeah.
And that way, when we open back up, we can really go ham on this, not have to worry about it.
Right. I mean, I hope so, because like, for example, my mother-in-law works at Legoland, California, and she was worked in the cleaning crew. Like she'd come in at night, and she was like a lead and stuff like that. She just got told don't come in anymore. I mean, they were cleaning the park, so it's kind of like, I guess the park's clean.
Yeah.
So now, but there's no guests. So what do we need to do? It's kind of scary. I don't know. I don't want to be all doom and gloom here. Let's switch it up and
change the subject.
Yeah, let's talk about something exciting. How about this? What's the most excited attraction or coaster that you're most excited for? Let's start with you, Taylor. What do you think?
My most anticipated coasters are a little unconventional. They're not located in America. Mine are Fly and Abyssus.
Oh, the Vekomas.
One is going to Phantasialand and one is going to Energylandia. They are both new Vekomas. If you guys have seen how Lech Coaster looks at Legendia.
Wait, what was that?
Lech Coaster.
Hey, not bad.
That ride has received rave reviews, and so and that's one of the most extreme new Vekomas we've seen that's like currently open. So I've heard really good things. So I have pretty high hopes for Abyssus, and Fly just intrigues me because we've never seen anything like it. And with how Phantasialand themes everything, and I just adore that park. Then that ride's been under construction for like 4 years. So I think that those coasters are going to be, I have really high hopes. I think they're going to be pretty sweet. But at least here in America, I'd say most interested is probably Pantheon.
Yeah, me too. Pantheon looks. Yeah, Pantheon looks legit. I mean, I'm excited to ride those Vekoma coasters, and and speaking of Fly, I always, people who gave West Coast Racers a hard time, I'm like, Fly. But
Fair.
It's either going to be an awesome coaster or it's going to be an okay coaster. I don't think it's going to be a bad coaster. I think it'll be cool.
Yeah.
We'll just see how it goes. I mean, I don't know.
It's tough because the park is being really tight on everything. We haven't heard a whole lot. I have a friend who lives near Phantasialand, and I asked him, are the crews still working on Fly during all this craziness? Because over in Germany, they're in a pretty similar situation as us. And his answer was, I don't know, because the park doesn't say anything. You can't find out like anything from them. So we don't know what the status is.
And I don't know if that secret that secret being enshrouded in mystery, if that's a good thing or a bad thing, because it could go either way. It could be like, we're not telling you anything about it because we want you to be super stoked, or we don't want to tell you anything about it because we're not that stoked and we already paid Vekoma. Do you know what I mean? I don't know.
They're ashamed.
I love when
why do we buy this thing? Oh man, it's gonna suck.
Yeah.
Should have just bought B&M.
Like, we better theme the crap out of this thing. But what about you, Ryan? What are you excited for? What do you think?
Basic. It's Iron Gawazi, without a doubt.
Well, yeah, of course.
I've been
Jersey
so
Devil?
obsessed with it. Yeah, more than Jersey Devil. Yeah, more than Jersey Devil. It just looks so good, and I don't know, the death roll just looks so good. And
The death roll.
yeah, it looks so psychotic, and I just need it. And then Pantheon looks really sick too.
Right.
I'm hyped for that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think Pantheon's gonna be a sleeper hit. But I mean, why not Jersey Devil? I mean, those trains look sweet.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess I'm just a little nervous about like its experience versus like Railblazer or something, because I know the trains are longer, so it's not. I don't know if it's gonna feel as dynamic.
Fair.
Like
It might be.
Yeah, like it might you might feel it hold up more on the hills or something. But if it does give the Railblazer experience, then it's gonna be a hit. It's gonna be.
Trust in the Shilky.
I rode Wonder Woman 20 times in a row last week, and I'm pretty sure is the most out of control coaster I've ever ridden.
I agree.
It is absolutely psychotic. So if Jersey Devil hits that same mark, which will be interesting because it does have longer trains, so we don't know. But man, if it is, then it's going to be absolutely insane.
I'm worried.
You say 20 times? Like, are your shoulders okay from?
Oh,
Yeah,
they were so
trains,
bad.
yeah.
Oh, it was terrible.
I'm worried about that block section.
Those things dig into you.
I was in lots of pain, but it was worth it. I was like, just keep it going.
Wonder Woman's great. When I was so excited. The first day I was out there, it was closed, and I was like, dang it. So I was like, before we go to SeaWorld, I want to go check out Six Flags one more time and see if it's open. And sure enough, I heard that lift hill sound, and I'm like, it's open. We ran over there, and I did.
You can hear that lift hill from SeaWorld.
And I knew, like, it's like that lift hill is
pretty
like
nearby.
that RMC lift hill sound. I'm like, it's open. I was like running over there, sprinting. We need to go on it, and we went it like 6 or 7 times or something. It was awesome. That was such a great coaster.
Yeah, because there's a lot of rumor that it actually might be. We might be getting a clone of that at Magic Mountain.
Of Jersey Devil.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't think we're gonna get.
I don't believe it.
Yeah, I don't think we're gonna get a single rail coaster. I could be wrong because who knows? But
I wouldn't be mad, but
yeah, no, I would love any new coaster is great, but like I just don't know if we're gonna get another RMC in that particular spot. I just think a water ride makes more sense there.
Well, what if it is a Raptor that has a splashdown element?
Okay, that's what I was thinking of the other day when I was watching your other podcast.
What? Right
That
after the
would
first drop
blow
or
people out of the water.
It would. I mean, Six Flags.
Yeah.
Six Flags would say, "Hey, we've got the first
It'd be
single
wacky.
rail coaster that has a splashdown element."
Yeah, wouldn't that be awesome?
right.
I know, right? Anyway, but I'll tell you what.
I'd ride it.
Of course, I would ride. I mean, the one thing that it has going for it though is at least the Jersey Devil is it does have a pretty sick color scheme, and
Oh yeah.
And I trust Shilky. Will it be as crazy as the
Don't we all?
right? In Shilky, we trust. If it's not as crazy as Railblazer or Wonder Woman, okay, but it's still going to be awesome. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But that block section is interesting. We'll see what they do. I mean, what do you think, Ryan? I mean, you've got a lot of input about that.
I'm gonna say that it's probably not gonna slow you down, the block.
Mm-hmm.
I've heard with Steel Vengeance the goal was it wasn't supposed to, but the trains are actually heavier than they accounted for during the design period, so they ended up like having to slow the train down. So I'm gonna hope, and I'm gonna say they already know the weight of the trains they're using, so I'm gonna say that they should have it all properly accounted for, so that it shouldn't affect anything. So I'm gonna go with that.
Run 4 trains? From what I
Yeah,
heard?
4 trains.
Right.
Yeah, 4 trains. And I think all at once. I don't think one of them is just to sit on the side.
Yeah,
I think they're
that
all
runs 4,
going to be
right?
running all at once. And I think that block is really going to.
So we'll see.
Like, I'm calling it now. I think it's going to do over 1,000 an hour. I'm pretty sure, or near that. Just with how many times it's going to be able to. Like my guess is like every 40 seconds about it's going to be able to send a train.
If
But
that's
we'll
the
see.
case, that's really successful for that model.
Have you heard anything if it will have a moving loading station?
Yeah, I've heard that. I think the only thing that would reject that is New Jersey because they're really strict on amusement park regulations. But I think they're gonna. Yeah, they're psychotic. Yeah, but with good reason because there've been accidents and stuff like Action Park and then Haunted Mansion and stuff. So I guess they've got a history.
The
But
Turnpike.
I think. Oh, is it?
No, never mind.
Yeah.
I was making a New Jersey joke.
Wait, did you
whatever.
say Haunted Mansion?
Turnpike.
Yeah, or Haunted Castle.
What?
Yeah,
Oh,
have you heard of that?
okay.
Yeah, Haunted Castle. Yeah,
Did it burn down or something?
yeah, it burned down
or
in like '84. I think they
Yeah,
had like
I
a
think
temporary like trailer set up with like a facade on the front, so it looked legit. And some kid brought a lighter in there and it lit something flammable. So there are no rules back then. Yeah,
That's good.
New Jersey.
Gotta love it. And okay, and then what do you guys think about it was cool to like it's so funny like we were able to see like speaking of Iron Gwazi, we got to see that test like really quickly right after it completed. And then we've have the other SeaWorld park had Emperor start to test and all the different stuff before things slowed down. What do you guys think about Emperor? Like I know it's like a mini dive, but like just wanted to get kind of your input on it. What do you think? Do you want me to start calling names?
Yeah, who's going
Raise
first?
hands. Go ahead, chime in. Days Can Blaze, what do you think, dude?
Emperor? I'm excited for it. I mean, it's going to be different, like, and Maverick was talking about in the last podcast.
Yeah.
It's going to feel different. It's the only one out here in the United States.
Yeah, mini dive.
Yeah, so, I'm interested. I've actually never even been on a real dive coaster. So.
Right.
Oh, really?
Yeah. No, only the fake one at Knott's.
Ooh. Shots fired. Shots fired. No, but like it was because we was talking about Blackberry. This mini dive doesn't have a mid course, so Taylor, right. you've been on a mini dive before, right? Like
I have. I've been on Crake, Barren, and Oblivion, the Black Hole, and I guess if you count the original Oblivion, although that gets into an interesting conversation. I'd say Barren is probably actually my favorite dive coaster, mostly because of the theme. Dive coasters have never really been my thing, which is interesting because I've done actually most of them now. I just don't care for them. I think it's actually a really good fit, though, for the park, considering what the public tends to think. It looks like a pretty strong layout, probably most similar to like Valkyria, which is one I missed because there were construction delays, and so I didn't get to ride that one. But the layout wise, it looks pretty good. I don't know. I'll probably go ride it in October or September or something. But I wouldn't say I'm like super excited for it. But as far as like dive coasters go, I think B&M probably came up with something like pretty good. So yeah, we'll see.
What do you think, Ryan? Have you been on any dive coasters or mini dives or anything?
I've been on the big ones, not the little ones. So
yeah.
I think it's gonna be fun though. It looks pretty cool. And their mini dive coasters seem to have like really good pacing and stuff. So.
Yeah, it has like the smaller train, like 6 across or something like that.
6 across.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, 6 across. And the overbank looks fun, so.
Right.
That does look pretty good. Yeah.
Yeah, the elements on the ride look a lot of fun. The testing footage that we've seen, it's hauling through its course.
Well, it didn't do a toll break yet, so it might not go as fast.
Right.
But,
there's no way it's gonna run as fast.
If it does go that fast, that's awesome.
That would be legit.
That'd be great.
Awesome. But
catch the whole break.
Once they start programming it, then it's gonna be interesting to see. But I think it's gonna be great for the park. I don't know when I'll be able to go on it, but I think it'll be great for SeaWorld.
It'd be sweet. You know how like they like say like on the Voyage they don't do the trims for like Hollywood Nights, stuff like that. What if they did like an enthusiast event where like they don't do the holding break on like Yukon Striker or something?
That'd be crazy.
Yeah,
that'd be pretty cool.
Jeez.
But yeah, I think my favorite thing about the Emperor is that it's blue. It's about time that SeaWorld San Diego got a blue coaster. Because,
I know. I've been waiting.
Yeah, they're really lacking in blue coasters. Yeah, they really needed one.
It's been a hot minute.
So what else? What else are we excited for? I'm like I said, we were talking about Pantheon. Like, what's the closest thing to Pantheon? Is it going to be that one that's in Parque Asteroids?
Soaring with Dragon is going to be your closest coaster, but there's still quite a few differences.
That's in China,
and
right?
None of us have ridden that. So, in terms of train design, I've been on Terran at Fantasia, which has the same train setup. So. And you'll find that same train design at like places like Linnamaki with Taiga. So it's a very comfy train, but layout wise, it's gonna be very, very different from rides like Terran or Taiga.
Have you been on Taiga, Taylor?
No, I have not. I'm supposed to ride it this year.
Okay,
we'll see though.
That thing looks awesome.
That's the plan, is to ride it in July. It does look very good. Pantheon will be interesting because the ride that I would probably compare it to most is the one that Parque Asteroids is supposed to get,
right,
which is interesting because it hasn't opened yet, but it was announced first. So, but it's actually been delayed till 2022. So, as for I guess when that thing opens, everyone will be like, "Oh, it's like Pantheon." So, I don't know.
That's a good point. I think this is the thing that I'm the most excited about. We talked about in our last podcast is that it's bringing the elements that were obviously inspired by RMC. What do you guys think? That big overbank turn looks legit. And the stall looks like super long and sustained. I don't know. Those are the parts. I'm also excited for the backward spike and, the stall and going up the hill and things like that. But I'm excited to see how they do the RMC knockoffs. I don't know. I'll call them a knockoff, but maybe the inspiration. Maybe the inspiration or the Alzorans or something like that. Crickets.
No, yeah, RMC is really. It seems like RMC has made their mark in the industry, and now a lot of other coaster manufacturers try to emulate those same moves and stuff and try to come up with their own moves. And I think it's great for us as a consumer. It's bring it on. Let's do it.
Right.
It shows how powerful of an influence they're having on the industry. So,
I mean, the RMC product is
I
great.
sometimes wonder what Shilkey thinks of it when he sees, like, similar elements on different rides. I wonder what he's thinking of it, but I see it only as a win-win situation.
Oh,
I
yeah.
mean,
I agree.
it's gonna be a great
Absolutely.
ride. So,
I think he probably is actually probably proud. I wouldn't be jealous or mad. I think it's just more like, see, I told you, something like that. Or
Yeah.
well, and I'm guessing that I don't know. Has Stengel done any of the RMC like elements, or is that all non-Stengel projects?
Let's see.
Anyone
Stengel,
know?
I don't think so. No,
Well,
I don't think he's been involved with
they-
RMC.
They have.
That well, no,
don't know.
not with RMC, but like
like elements. Oh, the elements like
yeah.
that.
Yeah, no, I would say.
We did the ejector airtime back in the day, but I think that's the closest to it, like with the Intamin projects. But
Uh-huh.
Well,
like
they've
with
also.
like the Superman Art of
I
Steels.
was just
and
curious because I know
Toro.
Stengel's involved with so many of these companies. I was curious because I just think it's funny that in this industry you have a lot of the same designers doing work for like multiple manufacturers that when you think about all of our favorite rides, well, they're probably all designed by like one of maybe 3 different people.
Right. Well, Stengel doesn't really get their due as much. But I was going to say with Stengel, I would say the closest that they've done is West Coast Racers. Believe it or not, they did work on West Coast Racers with Premiere, and so they've got that high five element, which is not a new concept, but the way that it throws you out of your seat, I mean, is a little more RC, and then it goes right into a stall right after it.
Did he work on Icebreaker?
So in a way, I guess that was inspired.
Yeah,
from
they would.
RMC. Well, unless RMC was inspired by who did it first? Was it Gravity Group on
The
Doll
High
and
Five?
Dragons? Was that Gravity Group or was that GCI? That's probably Gravity Group.
Yeah, Gravity Group.
I don't
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
Yeah, the
Okay, so I
dueling
guess
Gravity Group, right? Yeah.
Okay, so I guess Gravity Group did it 1st
Mhm.
Huh, well, good for them. That's cool.
But and with West Coast Racers, it does have that stall right afterwards, so it's pretty close. But and now we're seeing those Vacomas, like you're saying, that are bringing some of those as well. And then with Icebreaker, I'm curious to see what Icebreaker is going to have something similar to what the Pantheon has with that like stall. I don't know. I like Icebreaker because of that beyond vertical backward spike is cool.
Yeah.
Like I wanted them to do that on Superman the Escape. Like if they could, in Magic Mountain, if they could make
that would be
somehow just
really
like
cool.
made some little extensions, like that would add some more life to that ride.
Yeah.
Let's talk to Neil.
Yeah.
Let him know.
Go talk to my buddy.
Ask Neil about it.
But yeah. So also like let's go back to Disney. We've got Mickey's Runaway Railway.
Mickey Minnie's Runaway Railway.
Mickey Minnie's Runaway
forget
Tongue
Railway.
Minnie.
twister.
I know it's
Yeah.
kind of hard to say. I'm just going to call it the Railroad, not to be confused with the other
Railway, yeah.
railroad. But that's opened in Florida.
Yeah.
What's going to go on with? Because the next one is it supposed to be Disneyland or it's
Coming
going to
out
be?
here
Yeah.
at Toontown, like
Yeah,
behind
Toontown.
Toontown.
Yep, right behind, right next to Roger Rabbit. They're building a big show building to house the new attraction, and I think it's gonna be awesome. Here's the thing, like I'm glad. At first people were upset, like, oh, they're not getting rid of Toontown, but the thing is I'm glad that they're adding to Disneyland and they're adding more attractions to the park, and you pay that one price and you could do just about like everything that's at Walt Disney World in one park. It seems like there's so much to do at Disneyland, and with Mickey and Minnie's, I think it's gonna just improve that whole entire space and possibly give some livelihood to Toontown, because Toontown has been kind of ignored. I mean, not ignored, but it's just been chilling,
It's been a while.
So I think Mickey and Minnie's is beautiful. I mean, it's a gorgeous attraction.
Right.
They've done an amazing job. I mean, to blend the projection mapping with the physical sets and the animatronics is like stunning how they pull that out. Because when I first saw the videos, I was like, I can't tell the difference between projection mapping and what's a physical set.
Yeah, you're right. I was looking at it and going, it's the animation style that they chose is just so beautiful.
Oh, it's perfect.
I think it's really, really cool. Have you seen what are you guys' opinion on that, Ryan and Taylor?
I have not watched a POV because I was supposed to go in May. That's probably not going to happen at this point. But I was trying to leave it a secret. But I've heard plenty of things. And I've seen like some screen grabs of it and stuff like that. Yeah, I don't know.
I feel like it's gonna be like a Rise of the Resistance experience where like the videos and stuff don't do it justice. Like being
I'm sure.
being there in person.
Yeah.
Is, I watched so many videos on Rise of the Resistance, and then the day when I went on it, I was like, oh my god, this is insane. So I think the Mickey and Minnie's is the same way.
I mean, it's got to be really good if it's Mickey and Minnie,
Yeah, I mean it's their first attraction.
It's their first character, right?
Yeah, so, I mean,
Disneyland's
Disney's
spread-
first
yeah.
character, so
Yeah, it's
it's
gonna be
about time they got a ride.
And then
It's
Avengers
crazy it took
Campus.
this long. You would have thought they would have had a ride.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a good point. Yeah,
You
like
know, I would have thought they'd had a ride a long time ago.
Yeah, I wonder why that is. I wonder if they're waiting for certain technology.
Just had to be like perfect,
yeah.
That's why I'm anticipating it.
Dylan, what is your take on Tron supposedly coming to Disneyland in like the Finding Nemo submarine or like the Raceway area?
I don't know. That's like, it's a toss-up for sure because I don't know if it's actually coming or not. They can definitely fit the coaster there. I mean, there's plenty of room for the coaster to go there. But the thing is
Right.
Tomorrowland's supposed to be receiving a rumored renovation soon, and I think a lot of us are thinking that Tomorrowland's going to go more towards the like retro vibe back in the 60s, 50s, and 60s.
You think Tron is too
And
like futuristic?
Yeah, and Tron might either be too futuristic or they can just go the old school route because Tron came out in the 80s.
Yeah,
right?
just do the 1980s Tron.
Yeah, so you
That'd
can
be
do
sweet.
an arcade thing, but like
That would
you
do
know,
so well.
Yeah, I mean, so there are ways to do it, but I mean, I would love to see a new coaster at the Disneyland Resort. I think the Disneyland Resort needs a new coaster. And I think they've purchased 3 of those from the manufacturer. So
Well, that's what I thought I heard. That's why I was asking because
And
I
then,
mean
like,
that seems like the logical decision.
yeah, I've heard, and this is just like up in the air. Obviously, I don't know if these are true, but I've heard that they've purchased 3 of the Tron coasters, and then I've also heard that they've purchased 2 of the Guardians of the Galaxy coasters.
Right.
So it's like
Galaxy's Edge, throw it
where's-
in there.
Yeah, and I heard some rumors that Galaxy's Edge might be getting a coaster in the next few years, and what if that's the spinning coaster? Like how
I've heard
how
they're
amazing would that
expanding
be?
at Galaxy's Edge.
I think it'd be
already. We're
incredible.
talking about
Just
it,
theme it well.
Yeah.
like behind the same amount of space.
Yeah,
supposedly.
there's been talks of expanding Galaxy's Edge and putting in the restaurant that's going behind the cantina. There's space back there for
Yeah,
sure.
exactly.
But could you imagine like Rise of the Resistance, Millennium Falcon, and the coaster?
And
That
then
would be-
Guardians, because
That would be worth the price of admission right there.
Yeah.
And that's just in one park. And then you have all those other amazing rides like that. Yeah. So I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see how Avengers Campus, when that opens up, how that performs. And that could be like the turning point. Okay, let's spend even more money on these attractions because people are just eating them up.
Yeah.
It's like, why would you go to Disney World when you have Guardians and Tron
Yeah.
in 2 different parks? Or you could go to Disneyland and have Guardians, Rise, and Tron in one park.
They have it all in one park. Yeah. But it's going to be, the Tomorrowland project is a big question mark. Like, they're doing little hints here and there, like they have the new little planters in the front of Tomorrowland that are total 60 vibes. But like, I just don't know. I mean, Autopia and the subs, I feel like are on the way out. I don't think they're going to keep those attractions. I mean, and when you get rid of one, you have to get rid of the other.
Doesn't it
Because
still use gas?
no, the subs use electricity.
But the cars.
The cars, yeah, they're still using gas.
gas,
So I mean,
right.
I don't know. Tomorrowland on the Move is great. Like I like that whole concept. But at the same time, I don't know. It's hard. I mean, like I said, you get rid of the subs or vice versa, you have to get rid of the other one because the show building for subs sits right below Autopia's footprint. So it's a tough one.
Do those rides have any big like diehard fans or
Oh,
anything that would just
yes.
like cry their eyes out?
Oh,
Like
yes.
the purists that like cry
Yeah.
anytime
Oh,
like
yeah.
a park bench is removed.
Yeah.
Like
Mhm.
Autopia and the subs got a pretty big following. I mean, they don't. I would say Autopia has a more of a lengthy queue line than the subs do on a daily basis. But I mean, yeah, there's definitely some.
yeah, people got mad when the subs changed from whatever
yeah.
it was to Nemo.
Yeah,
Yeah.
20,000 Leagues Underneath the Sea. That was
Exactly, there it
That
was.
was I remember that. But yeah, so it's gonna be interesting.
Yeah.
Mm.
Well, I mean, and what about like Epic Universe? Let's talk about another like new kind of land that's it's not rumored. We know it's being
Yeah,
built,
we know
but
it's being built.
what have we heard? What do you say? What do you know about like what's the rides that are going to be coming in and certain lands that have been kind of confirmed and some have been rumored? What do you think?
See, this is where I wish Dustin was here. 'Cause
Yeah,
he
from
has
Theme
so
Park
much,
Shark?
yeah,
Yeah.
he has some really good knowledge on that. Well, I think it's going to be a beautiful park. I mean, I
It's gonna be
think
cool.
yeah, I think it's gonna be. And like when Islands of Adventure opened up, Islands of Adventure is a pretty park. There's some areas of Islands of Adventure that they've kept from the beginning that are just really gorgeous. So I think with Epic Universe, they're going to do the same thing, but just kind of amp it up and really do some cool stuff. There's obviously rumors of Nintendo going in there, Universal Classic Monsters, which would be fantastic.
It'd be cool.
I think the Classic Monsters area is gonna be the sleeper hit. That's the one
yeah.
I feel like between like How to Train Your Dragon, like Potter and stuff. I feel like Epic, like the monsters area, is not getting as much talk. But I mean, a monster themed dark ride.
Oh,
that could be so cool.
I would book a flight right now.
Yeah, for sure.
I would do it right
Well, hey,
now.
flights are cheap right now.
Yeah, they're like
again.
$20.
Sorry, we don't mean to
Yeah.
make fun. We don't mean to make fun. Sorry,
Yeah,
everybody.
no,
Relax.
it's okay.
I mean, there really isn't that many dark, scary rides.
No, and I
Right.
think there hasn't been a Universal Monsters area ever. So I think if that's gonna happen and they're gonna go through with that, that's gonna draw in so many people alone.
That's almost like, Mickey and Minnie's Railway. It's like, why are they taking so long?
Yeah, and this is
For-
like their opportunity to do it. So I'm excited. I think it's gonna be a fantastic park, and the build out for that. I mean, obviously we have some delays going on because of current times, but the current build out for that park is extremely quick. I mean, they were gonna build that in like under 3 years. It's something
Wow.
ridiculous. And I was just like, that's insane. I mean, they do such a great job on construction. I mean, even here in Hollywood, with the speculated Nintendo project, that next to Transformers, that's being built so fast. Like once they get the parts, the structural steel and all that fun stuff, it just goes right up. Like
Right.
there's no wasted time.
So what do you think as far as coasters? I mean, you can see in that concept art, you can see like what looks like a lot of people are joking is East Coast racers. Like, what do you guys? What do you think it's going to be? What do you think?
I think isn't it like a How to Train Your Dragon coaster?
Yeah. My first thought was, I can't believe Universal is trying the dueling dragons, literally. Like, again.
How dare you?
I'm so glad I got
It's How
that
to Train Your
credit.
Dragon, it's dueling. Come on. Like, I can't, like, my first thought was, it's like, for real? I don't know. After Dueling Dragons, I was like, all right, well, that's not going to happen again. Like,
How to Train Your Dueling
like,
Dragons?
what? How to Train Your Dueling Dragons.
Dueling Dragons was such a great ride. I'm so glad I got that credit before they
Same.
took
Yeah,
the
yeah.
ride.
so
That was like
good.
one of
Oh,
the most
yeah.
intense invert coasters I've been on in a while. That was so fun.
Well, they've
Yeah.
kind of built the new one now in China, right? The
Oh yeah.
that crazy
the Intamin.
dueling dragons there.
Yeah.
That Intamin. That to me, and I mentioned this on the last podcast. That to me is like my dream coaster. Like I don't know why, I love that. Just the way it looks and the way that it just, I mean, it just seems like something that everybody made on like Roller Coaster Tycoon or Planet Coaster or whatever, like, or just drew pictures of, like that's the coaster that we always wanted to see. And like, I don't know what else they could do to top it. Like put a flying coaster or I don't even know.
Yeah. I want to see one
Death
of those
roll.
go to. Yeah. I want to see one of those go to a park that will actually have the attendance and the ability to consistently duel
Yeah.
it.
That's the problem.
Because
Yeah.
I've heard
They,
that
like-
they don't.
Cedar Point got one. That would be cool.
We
or
lost you.
something.
We lost you, Ryan. I think
Can you guys hear me?
I think you turned off your camera.
Yeah, we can hear you.
There you are.
Oh, boom. There
He's
Hey.
back. And you guys switched positions. Look at that. Now you're number one. Yeah, baby. So what were you going to say, Ryan?
I was saying, like what Taylor was saying, if like a park that had like the guests to take advantage of it always dueling, and I was saying Cedar Point could probably take good advantage of that. That'd be pretty cool.
I think Elitch Gardens would do a great job with that coaster.
Yeah,
That park
they
is
probably
about
be
to
the
get
best.
bulldozed anyways.
Yeah,
Gilroy Gardens.
yeah, ship it there.
Gilroy Gardens.
They need that.
No,
to
Gilroy
Gilroy
Gardens would do.
Gardens.
Gilroy Gardens. That would bring people to Gilroy Gardens. I love Gilroy Gardens. That's a great little park. That's a great little
Never
park.
been.
Oh, you guys
Looks
know
nice.
if they
Dueling
added
garlic.
that.
Gilroy Garlic.
Oh my god.
But yeah, and I mean, that's the one coaster we can see. Just was there any other coasters at Epic Universe that we could see from that concept? I don't know. I should probably
I know
pull it
that
up.
would
But
be like a good pick. I haven't seen the
They're
concept
indoors
art in a
and
while.
hidden in theming.
Yeah, they're being extremely secretive. Of
Well,
what's going in
Donkey
there.
Kong. Donkey Kong is a coaster.
Oh yeah, Donkey Kong.
That'd
yeah.
be in there.
I mean, that's another thing that
It's not a
track
traditional coaster. Yeah, but it's not traditional at all. But it's a coaster.
yeah, I'm excited for this new kind of coaster, concept that with the Donkey Kong and like the Mario Kart kind of stuff. Like,
What kind of coaster is it going to
super
be?
interesting.
You don't know?
Great question.
Huh.
Me
gotta-
thinks that
it's-
Taylor
it's
knows
gotta
more
have
than he's
Very
saying.
different.
It's got to have the mine car trains or whatnot. You know,
Yeah.
on that
It's
one,
gonna-
that
it's
one
gonna-
level
train
where it's
is
got the mine cars.
way elevated above the actual track.
Yeah.
So like
Yeah,
the
that's-
heart line is several feet above from where the track is.
So
Also,
it-
the
so
track
it'll be
is
able to
rotated
move.
90 degrees, so it's not like this.
Yeah,
It's
so
like
the
this.
train for the actual car can articulate.
Yeah, that would
Yeah,
be
it's
cool.
it's gonna be very weird.
So it's kind of like an axis, but like way above itself.
A little bit.
Is it a
yeah,
universal
in a way.
patent? Did Universal patent that technology?
They did. Yeah.
Ooh,
they
that
did.
means no one else can use it.
Oh snap!
Hmm.
But isn't
Yeah.
it? Isn't it the It's like the company out of Utah, right? So Taylor, when you've been up there, have you-
Intermountain Lift is building the track.
well, Intermountain
Yeah.
Lift is doing the track, but isn't the
I
company
have-
based out of like Ogden or something?
Springville. Yeah. I have a cred. I touched the Donkey Kong track.
Look at this guy.
Oh,
Wow.
Look at this guy over here. You know,
It was
no
there.
big
It
deal.
was there when I visited. So, yeah,
cool.
it's that's gonna be a cool project. They said, those guys over there said that was the most difficult project they've ever had to work on, strictly because of the heart line, because it is so high above where the actual track is. It's like nothing they've ever done before, which I
That's
think is
cool, though.
fascinating.
I mean, it's pushing the boundaries for sure, which I think is like the whole
Oh,
point
yeah.
of this whole
Oh, yeah.
entire industry is let's push the boundaries, what we can and can't do. And if we can't do it, let's try to figure out how we can. You know,
Hmm.
It's crazy. All I need to know is like, can it have a death roll?
Yeah, it needs to
Can
have
that-
that death roll.
Oh, we lost Taylor.
Yeah.
There he's coming. Oh, he wanted to be number one again. So that's what he did. Taylor always wants to be number one. So,
It's
you know, I touched the
back.
Donkey Kong track. Now he's like, let me log out, log back in so I can be the first position here.
Wow.
Oh, man. Anyways. Well, yeah, I'm just excited for Epic Universe. Like, I think it's going to be cool to open just up like a whole new land. You know what I mean? It's like that hasn't happened in a long time.
very long time.
I'm intrigued about how this park is supposed to be the most expensive park ever built, and there's Disney Sea exists. Hello, like it's supposed to be more expensive
yeah.
than that. How?
I think Universal's. I mean, the competition. I love it. Like as
Yeah.
just a consumer, man,
that's great.
I eat it all up. Like Universal is battling with Disney. Like they're
Yeah.
like, no, look at this. You know,
It's like
It's
Coke
so
and Pepsi,
great.
man.
yeah.
Don't
like,
demonetize us. Can we say Coke and Pepsi on YouTube? I don't even know.
I don't know, but yeah, no. I think Epic Universe is going to be epic.
Oh, well done. Yeah, I mean, you know, and it's just so funny. Like you can hear it in all of our voices. We're just so itching to get back and to like, you know,
I want to go back to the parks so
yeah,
bad.
we want to go back to the
Yeah.
parks. You know,
Like I feel so bad.
Yeah.
I went live on my channel yesterday, and I was telling everyone I feel so bad. Like I just love like providing information and everyone like
Yeah.
and everything to everybody, and not being able to go just for like my own pleasure to have fun and with my friends and family. It just sucks.
Yeah.
I'm hoping
mean,
they open soon.
Yeah, like this point, you know, when you get back, you're going to be excited again just to be there,
Yeah.
you know, and not even for the content. You just be like, yes, I'm finally
Yeah.
back, you know.
It's
That's a
gonna be
good
fun.
point. You know, maybe this time away, like they always say, like distance makes the heart grow fonder. I wonder if we're going to have that spark again.
I think I will.
Do you know what I
will,
mean?
for
Like
sure.
as we go back,
Yeah.
it's going to re-up our commitments and and what really made us enthusiasts in the first place. I mean, what do you think, Ryan?
Oh yeah, I think we're all gonna run back in there, kiss the ground. That's it. I will. Not for content, but
Yeah,
I think everyone's gonna be really excited. I think.
Tell the ground to like,
That'd be
comment,
good.
subscribe.
Oh yeah, and it will. I'll make
back.
sure it will. I'll force it. I'll watch it until it clicks the subscribe button. I'll make sure that happens. Yeah.
Well, and with you, Ryan, like it was kind of cool, like, you know, and we're all trying to do this. We've all tried to like make some other content, and I know that with you, Taylor, like you've got stuff banked, which is great that can help you out. But I actually liked your video, Ryan, of like when you went just snowboarding. You're like, hey, this is the closest that I can get to, you know, to feeling that same kind of feeling that I get from rides. Is, you know, yeah.
Yeah, I wanted to film a video so bad that weekend just because I'm basically out of vlogs. I have one from Knoebels that I haven't edited yet, but I was like, in my head, I was like so hyper-focused on I need to go to a park, and I was banking on the fact that I was going to go to Busch Gardens or then Orlando,
Yeah.
and I was like, well, that's not happening. And then I have this, and I was like, I really wanted to use it. I hadn't used it yet, and I was like, I go snowboarding all the time. Like, I love snowboarding just as much as roller coasters.
Right.
So I was like, I don't know, let me try it. It'll be different, but you know, I'll see. And
Well, it was a clever idea, you know, because it's like we're all striving to do something. Like, for example, Dylan and I went out to just kind of explore the local area, it was kind of a fun, time. We had a good time, and it was sort of Disney related. There's actually a Disney movie ranch up here near Magic Mountain. Not a lot of people know about, so we went and filmed it or whatever. And Dylan's did a little bit better than mine. I think we've got a whopping 23 views on my video right now. But
hey, you know what? That's 20 people.
It's 23 more people, but Dylan's is doing a little bit better. But Taylor, how much do you have banked? Like how much can you keep going?
Well, I mean, as you know, I post a video every day.
Right.
So if this goes on long enough, then we'll probably have to steer away from the whole daily videos, and I mean, which is fine. Slowly start doing every other day or
makes
every
sense
2
though.
days
To
or
stretch it out.
something. I mean, the perks about what I do is that because a lot of my content is so footage based, and I have this huge library, almost like these archives of all this footage that I've shot.
Yeah.
There is the potential for reuse, and so I'm trying to get all this Texas stuff out, which will probably last me another maybe 2 weeks, just from all the different stuff I can publish there. But afterwards, I mean, there's still some Japan parks I gotta review, maybe a few more random coasters here and there, and then I think a lot of it will also just come down to, all right, what ranking or list video can I do this time? I'm not even a big fan of doing them, but so if I'm out of options, you gotta do what you gotta do.
Right.
And you can bring back the Ride Wars. Yeah.
I don't know, man. Well, every once in a while I'll still get comments. Can you bring back park battles? And I'm like, oh, they're so bad. But I think at this point, if we're locked up for such a long period of time, I wouldn't be opposed to taking a look at some past stuff that I've done and seeing how I could almost reimagine it, step it up a bit to bring it up to the current standard that I try to bring with the channel. So
that's a good idea.
I don't know. We'll
That's
see.
not a bad idea.
At this point, I'm just
redo reviews or something.
I mean, there's some pretty old reviews on there that there's definitely options out there. So I don't want to immediately say that I'm in a situation that I'll be totally screwed or anything. I look at, there's some channels out there. I think, Ryan, you're kind of in that boat where it's okay, what do I do? All the parks are closed. I also look at Theme Park Worldwide. I think is a great example. It's 90% of their content is in the park, so it's uh-oh.
I'm in the same
and he
boat.
posts so quickly that his stuff just goes right on. So it's I don't know what he's back
Sean
up.
has started doing live streams for the first time ever. Speaking of Theme Park Worldwide, and he's killing it. I don't know if you watched any of his recent live stream. Shout out to you, Sean. But karaoke sing along time was pretty epic.
I missed it.
It actually gave me an idea.
What?
Maybe we
Karaoke.
should
I missed
karaoke on the
karaoke.
coaster.
I have to watch that for sure.
What's his name?
Cue that up.
Gordon.
Yeah.
But we do roller coaster karaoke.
Roller coaster karaoke.
That's the new one.
There we go. Next
roller coaster theme
enthusiast roundtable. We're all just going to come and we're going to sing a song.
Oh Lord.
No, I'm just-
Beautiful.
On our balcony.
no, but
Beautiful.
do you have any coaster parodies or anything like that you're still working on the community?
I literally just released the West Coast Racers parody, which you're in, which is awesome. So everyone go watch it.
Oh, did I make
and
the
Dylan
cut?
is in it too.
Yes.
Oh, Dylan's in it too! Yay!
Yeah,
I made it.
yeah. So go watch it. I think it's pretty funny, but a lot of the parodies rely on having some in park shot stuff or some scenes that require filming, and so because we're all self quarantined, I think it might be a little bit for the next parody. I don't know. The beauty about this is that if we have all this time, I can start working a lot on the scripts and getting
that's a
those
good
races.
point.
Then when we are out of this, I can actually go out and film the rest of it. So it's West Coast Racers parody. Go watch that. But after that, I'm it might be a little bit. So we'll see.
Speaking of sort of a parody, recently there's another Disney Channel, or Disney Parks related channel, not Disney Channel because Disney Channel is a thing, called Provost Park Pass. Shout out to those guys if they're watching. They actually recreated Disneyland in their basement, and it is hilarious because they're on lockdown too, and so they have a little 3-year-old or something like that. So it's him and his wife, and then their little kid, and they rode a laundry basket down the stairs and splashed water and Splash Mountain. It was very it's the creativity during this lockdown. We could either let the creativity be stifled, or we can really allow it to blossom. Do you know what I mean?
I'll tell you something. If
Yeah.
it goes on long enough, I'm gonna look into one of those simulator chairs. You know, maybe a 4-seater. Start programming coasters, no limit. You know. Right.
You get your no limits 2 coasters,
Yeah.
and you
Oh,
start
man,
programming them
awesome.
to
I
move
won't
with
be
the
able to hold out any longer.
That's super hilarious.
Right.
But yeah, like it just we're so passionate about what we do, and obviously we want to put out there that yes, there's all other industries that are being affected by this, and it's not just poor boohoo enthusiasts, you can't ride rides. Obviously, there's the people that work there that may not get their jobs back, or food service or gate people. That's who my heart really goes out to. Like my mother-in-law. I'm not sure what's going to happen. So obviously, if any of you guys are watching, and we know that some of you guys do technicians and ride ops and things like that, we really want these park opens for you guys too, because we understand that you're the ones that actually make and keep the parks running. So we joke and we jest that it's like we're having such a hard time. It's like we're a bunch of celebrities singing Imagine, like that's going to do something. But
and if you need something to do in the meantime, and you're not working, just hit us up.
Yeah, hit us up.
Come on the channel.
Yeah, if you guys want to come on our channel,
talk.
The Enthusiast Roundtable, you can send an email to either Days Can Blaze at through our Instagram channel, a DM, or you can send an email to themeparkert@gmail.com. And yeah, come on the show, come on Skype. I mean, big channel, small channel, we don't care. Everybody is welcome here to talk about theme parks and roller coasters. So any last words from everybody? Dylan, what do you say? What do you know?
I mean, yeah, I'm using this time to really focus on, when the parks do open, to really improve the channel even more so. And, it's very hard to make content right now because, my channel, is very park heavy. So, I'm in the same boat as Ryan. As being in those parks is definitely a help. But when you're not in the parks, it's very difficult. So, I'm using this time right now to really focus on the future of the channel and when the parks do open. And, I just got an email for some new merchandise, so we're really working hard on that too. So it's just like refining little things. I think that's the most important.
How about some last encouraging words for your fans?
I mean, we're all in this together, and the parks will reopen. This will people will get their jobs back. The parks will reopen, and I think everything will get back to normal. It's just we gotta keep hunkering down until that moment, but we're all gonna get through it. I think there's definitely light at the end of the tunnel.
Very well said. Days Can Blaze, what do you think for a theme park ERT? Any final thoughts and encouraging words?
No, just stay safe. The quicker, or the more we listen to this and whatnot, the quicker it'll be over, and we'll be back to our normal lives.
Right.
That's how I feel.
Taylor, last words?
I think Dylan said it better than I ever could.
Happens a lot.
I look forward to the day when everything reopens. So, yeah, we just got to hang in there, I guess.
Ryan, what do you think?
More along the same thing, just hang in there. And I'd say if you have any other hobbies outside of amusement parks or theme parks, I'd say explore those maybe for the time being. Mm-hmm. Anything that can keep you sane. I might build a new Connects coaster. I don't know if you guys,
you guys
see
see
it
behind
over
you?
there?
That hang time?
Yeah.
I might, my
Oh,
hang time model here. I might build a new one because I haven't touched this in like 2 years. So
Shout out to
just something to keep you busy. Whatever you can do, just keep yourself occupied.
That was
We'll get through this.
amazing.
CDX Blocks has a sale right now, $75. You can get the Sidewinder kit, the Lego compatible one.
Oh yeah,
ship
right
now, so it's a pretty good deal.
That hang time, that blew my mind. That was amazing.
Dylan's mind is officially blown.
That was so cool.
the Connects coaster.
Yeah.
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 Oh man.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like I know that Amazon just recently said that they're not going to ship. They're only going to ship like
medicine and
essential
stuff, yeah.
essential stuff. So, I mean, I don't know.
I just ordered a motor for my CDX kit.
Well, maybe they thought the motor was to like power a generator or something like that.
I don't know. Maybe. And a keychain, and they brought it. Oh, we'll see.
Yeah. Well, very good, and that's good advice about it. If you've got another, if you've got another hobby, go ahead and explore it. Take some time to like do some house projects around the house that you've been meaning to do, like rehang that door or plant those plants they've been meaning to do.
It's all that death roll
Yeah, install the death roll
down
onto
the
your
staircase or something.
Oh my god. on.
Yeah, your laundry chute, death roll, that'd be sweet. But the only hobby I would say that don't practice right now would be the hobby of giving out free hugs. Probably not a good idea right now. Let's just, again, please don't get mad at me in the comments for making light. We've got to laugh. You have to laugh or else you're going to go crazy. Anyway, so we've gone about a little over an hour. I think this is a good spot to wind it up, to wrap it up.
I've said some crazy stuff earlier on too. I'm sounding like an idiot.
It's all good. Hey, on behalf of me, the ambassador, and Dylan from Theme Park Obsession, Days Can Blaze, who is our Instagram and producer, WizKid Know-It-All, and also on behalf of Taylor from Coaster Studios, Ryan from Toro Ryan, and Coaster Idiots. How are the Coaster Idiots doing, real quick?
I think they're slowly losing their minds, but they'll be okay.
Yeah,
they always are. So.
And you got them all. Chris hasn't stolen
smashing their heads against walls and stuff, but they'll be okay.
Airtime Thrills hasn't stolen anymore.
Yeah. No, not yet. I'm sure he's planning something.
That merch you sent them,
Christopher.
Oh yeah, that merch.
That Christopher. Oh.
Anyway.
We'll see.
But again, thank you so much, and we want another shout out to Cardin from Problem Solver Politics. Go check him out. I mean, we're not political here on Theme Park ERT, but we are very grateful that he allowed us to use the studio space for this second roundtable. So again, thanks so much, Cardin. And this has been your Theme Park ERT.